Walk into any commercial gym at peak hour and count the people training alone, not resting between sets scrolling, not chatting by the water fountain, working, headphones in, eyes forward, running a private operation nobody else is invited to. Now count how many of them look like they are suffering through it. Almost none. There is a specific expression the gym loner wears, and once you learn to see it, you will notice it is the same expression on every one of them. It is not sadness, and it is not arrogance. It is focus so complete that the social world has simply stopped existing, the face of a person running an experiment that only they can see, in a room full of people who think the experiment is exercise. Most people think these are the odd ones, the lonely ones, the ones who could not find a partner. But the research on solo performance keeps pointing somewhere stranger. Training alone might not be the consolation prize, it might be the unfair advantage. Today we break down why the loner trains the way a professional does, what happens to performance when the audience disappears, what the nervous system does with an hour of uninterrupted solitude, and the 5 psychological reasons the empty corner of the gym produces more transformed bodies than the crowded middle. By the end, you will know whether the empty corner is where you should be spending your next year, and the answer might not be what the fitness culture has been telling you since the day you signed up, because the culture sells companionship, and the science keeps quietly pointing at the door you close behind you. Let us start with a finding that should embarrass every flexing mirror selfie ever taken. In research on social facilitation, going back to the classic work of Robert Zajonc in the 1960s, the presence of observers improves performance on simple, well-practiced tasks and degrades performance on complex, newly learned ones. A bicep curl in front of an audience fires a little harder. A technical snatch learned 3 weeks ago falls apart when the eyes arrive. Your nervous system runs an arousal response to being watched, and arousal is gasoline. Gasoline helps the old road and buries the new one, which means the person learning movement patterns alone, unobserved, is practicing in the exact chemical environment the skill requires, while the person learning in the crowd is fighting their own blood chemistry for the instruction to stick. The beginner who trains alone is not missing out on the gym experience. The beginner who trains alone is receiving the instruction at full strength, every rep, while the room filters it through noise the beginner cannot yet afford. This is why the loner looks technically gifted after a year. Nothing about them is gifted. Every rep they ever took was taken at full bandwidth, and full bandwidth is the only speed at which movement patterns are actually written into the nervous system. The crowd lifter practices at half speed and wonders why the technique never arrives. The technique never arrived because it was never received, and the room, friendly and encouraging and full of eyes, was the static that swallowed it. Here is the analogy. Learning a lift under observation is like practicing piano while someone stands behind you rating your posture. Even if they say nothing, the body knows, and the knowing is the interference. The gym loner has the room to himself, even when the room is full. The headphones are not blocking the music, they are blocking the audience, and the audience is the interference. There is a reason the headphones have become the universal uniform of the serious lifter, and it is not the playlist. The headphones are a social fence. They announce, without confrontation, that the marketplace is closed, and the nervous system relaxes the moment the fence goes up. Studies on music and exercise performance show real effects on endurance and perceived effort, but the quieter effect is the social one. The ears covered means the negotiation never starts. The loner is not antisocial. The loner is running a private protocol, and the protocol requires a door. Now the 5 reasons the loner wins. 1. Total attentional control. Attention is a zero-sum budget, and every social signal in a gym deducts from it. Who walked in, who is watching, how the last set looked. The research on attention in skilled performance, including the work on choking under pressure by C.N. Baylock, shows that skilled performers do best when attention stays external and automatic, and worst when it turns inward and self-conscious. The loner has engineered an environment where self-consciousness has no fuel. Every unit of attention goes to the bar, and over months, that reallocation compounds into technique. The crowd lifter never builds. Run the arithmetic with me, because the numbers are the argument. Assume the social environment costs the crowd lifter even 10% of attentional bandwidth, a conservative estimate, when the research on phone proximity alone shows measurable cognitive drain. 10% of a 1-hour session is 6 minutes of pure focus, lost daily. Across a training year, that is more than 30 hours of technical practice the loner banks and the crowd lifter burns. 30 hours is the difference between a movement pattern that is automatic and one that still needs supervision. The loner is not more talented. The loner is simply paying full attention, and attention is the only currency the nervous system accepts. 2. Rest integrity. The research on rest periods is unambiguous. Adaptation signaling depends on the quality of the rest between sets. The social gym-goer rest is a marketplace. Conversations, phone checks, unsolicited advice from strangers. The loner rest is a countdown timer. Same rest, every set, every session, tracked and honest. Over a year of training, the athlete whose rest periods are actually rest accumulates measurably more clean stimulus per hour in the gym, because the hour is not leaking through the social holes. The rest period is where adaptation is actually signaled, and the signal degrades with every interruption. The physiological logic is straightforward. The set triggers the stimulus, the rest calibrates the next dose, and the calibration depends on consistency. The lifter who rests 3 minutes today and 9 tomorrow, because a conversation arrived, is running an experiment with an uncontrolled variable and reading the results like they mean something. The loner rest is boring, repeatable, and honest. Boring is the word the entire gym culture needs to relearn. The repeatable rest is the one the body can plan around, and the body that can plan around the rest can plan around the load, and the load is the whole sport. 3. Training by internal reference. The crowd lifter calibrates against the room, the weights the others use, the bodies the others have, the pace the others set. Social comparison research shows this is involuntary, automatic, and corrosive, because the reference point is a moving target set by strangers. The loner calibrates against the logbook, last week, last month, last year. The only reference that means anything is the self of record, and the loner reads it every session. Progress measured against a fixed self is progress that compounds. Progress measured against a room is progress that wanders. The comparison trap has a specific failure mode in the gym. The room is full of people at different stages, running different programs, chasing different goals, and every glance at them is a glance at a ruler made of other people. The ruler keeps changing. The intermediate lifter sees a beginner and coasts. The same lifter sees an advanced lifter and despairs. Neither reaction has anything to do with his own trajectory, which is the only trajectory he controls. The logbook is the antidote. The numbers do not flatter, do not mock, and do not move. They sit there, week after week, telling the only story that matters, which is the story of the last person you were versus the person you are becoming. 4. Disinhibited effort. There is a weight you can only attempt when nobody is watching. Not because it is dangerous, but because it is ugly. The grind rep, the failed attempt, the set that ends on the floor. Fear of negative evaluation is one of the most reliable performance suppressants in the psychology literature, and the gym floor is an evaluation theater. The loner has removed the theater, and with it the cap on honest effort. The weights that build the body live past the edge of pretty, and the loner goes there daily, because there is no one there to see the face it requires. Think about what the last rep of a true working set looks like. The grimace, the shake, the wobble, the moment the form degrades by 2 degrees while the will holds the line. It is not photogenic, it is the rep that counts, and the audience makes people shave it off. The loner shaves nothing. The set ends when the muscles end, not when the image would. Over a year, the accumulated difference between sets ended by muscles and sets ended by appearance is the entire difference between a body that changed and a gym attendance record. 5. Identity consolidation. Remember exercise identity, the construct from Anderson and Psychosh in 1994, the identification with training as an integral part of the self. Identity forms in private. It is a conclusion your brain reaches from accumulated evidence, and the evidence accumulates fastest when the behavior is unwatched, uncompensated, and unrepeated to anyone. The loner session is a sealed transaction between you and you. No witnesses, no credit, no performance. The self that survives a year of unwitnessed Tuesdays is a self that does not need the room to agree. That is the identity that holds through injuries, layoffs, and decades. The identity research is clear on the direction of the arrow. Behavior feeds identity, and identity stabilizes behavior, a loop that either compounds or collapses. The unwitnessed session is the purest input the loop accepts, because there is no social reward contaminating the evidence. You did it for you, or you did not do it at all, and the self keeps honest books. This is why the loner survives the winter, the injury, and the year abroad. The identity was never propped up by the environment. It was built inside it, in the quiet, where the props do not reach. The loner does not need the gym to be a person who trains. He simply is one, and being one is portable. Now, before the introverts declare victory, the honest caveat. Training partners carry real, documented benefits: spotting, feedback, accountability, and the competitive push on heavy days. The research on social connection to health outcomes is enormous, and it is not wrong. The point of this breakdown is not that alone is always better. It is that alone is not the deficit the culture assumes it is, and for the specific work of learning technique, protecting rest, calibrating internally, accessing ugly effort, and consolidating identity, the solo session is not the compromise version of training, it is the laboratory version. And there is one more layer, the strangest one. The psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, who spent his career studying the state of flow, described its conditions precisely: clear goals, immediate feedback, and a match between challenge and skill. He also noted where flow is most reliably found: in solitary, structured, demanding activity. The loner under the bar, alone with a number he chose and a logbook that answers, is running the exact flow protocol the literature describes. The crowded gym keeps interrupting the state the nervous system finds most rewarding. The loner lives in it. The flow research deserves its slow reading here, because flow is not a bonus. It is the mechanism that makes training feel like something you get to do instead of something you have to do. The people who quit the gym rarely quit because of soreness. They quit because the hour never felt like anything but an hour. The loner, running the exact protocol the state requires, gets paid in the state itself, and the state is the most habit-forming reward the nervous system knows. The solitude is not the price. The solitude is the machine, and the machine runs every session the door closes behind you. So of the 5, which one hit? Attentional control, rest integrity, internal reference, disinhibited effort, or identity consolidation? Tell me in the comments and be specific, because I read them. And if you have been training alone and quietly wondering whether it counts for less without a partner, I hope this settles it. It counts for more. The room was never the point. The bar was, and the bar asks exactly one question, the same question every session, whether the building is full or empty, and the loner is the one who learned to hear it clearly, without translation, without applause, without the echo of anybody else's opinion bouncing off the mirrors. Hit like if this landed, send it to the loner in your life, and subscribe for the next breakdown. Goodbye and see you next time.